You know what's really exciting? We kind of accidented into it on the end of the last episode, but you all are level 3 now.
Yes!
Yay!
Level hype.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, I guess I just didn't understand how the XP math was working, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, you're almost there, almost level 3, but not quite, and you all start punching it in. It's like, no, excuse me, no, we're level 3 now.
Me good sir, but we are in fact level 3.
Yeah, that's exciting. You're out of, well, not necessarily the danger zone, but, level 1 to 2, you're just so fragile. And now you've got some hit points.
I mean, speak for yourself.
I mean, okay.
Okay, barbarian. Okay.
Okay. With your half damage while raging.
Let's not upset the DM. We would like to at least make it to level 6.
Don't kill us. We're sorry.
Roll for initiative.
I love you.
No, it's fantastic. You all are starting to get your archetypes, and you're really setting foot down the path that your character is sort of going to develop into, unless you're Aurelian and you've already multi-classed. Bold move, and I love it, but man, you just got to wait one more level before you get that actual 3rd level dip, yeah? Hey viewers, do you want to hear about what happens at level 3? Do we want to go around the room and talk about what we got? Who wants to go first?
I'll do it. It'll be me.
Nice.
So, for Lenosa at level 3, she gets to choose a monastic tradition, and I was gonna keep it a secret and be a secreter, but I'm not.
You can still let it be a secret.
Yeah.
Nah, I think
All right.
it would be cool if everyone knows what's happening.
Okay.
So your bombastic tradition? What was it?
Monastic tradition.
Monastic, right?
But
Like
it
monastery.
possibly could be bombastic. depending on how
Bombastic,
we feel
yeah.
about it. So for those of you who don't know, Lenosa is big and tall. And she's going to be a Way of the Shadow monk, which means there's going to be a lot of big tall Lenosa just disappearing and doing things of that nature. So I'm very excited to have people just be like, where the fuck did she go?
Yeah, well, she's right here a minute ago. She's like 8 feet tall.
She's 8 feet tall. Where
Where?
could she have gone? I can't wait.
That's
I'm so
awesome.
Excellent.
excited. So there's that. I get the ability to cast some spells
Nice.
as a result.
Okay.
So I get like darkness, dark vision, pass without trace, and silence.
Oh, so like actual spells, not like
Yeah.
key point usage type stuff.
Well, it costs key points.
Oh,
instead
okay,
of-
but they
instead of
are
spell
like
slots,
spells. That's
but yeah.
cool.
So I don't have to have like any like. I can basically just like will them to be, as opposed to like having components and stuff like that.
That's legit.
awesome.
Okay, all
I'm very
right.
excited.
I'm gonna step up my monsters. All right, who wants to go next?
They're already standing so tall.
It's already beefy. I go next.
Okay.
So I chose my subclass at level 1 because sorcerers get to do that. But at level 3, I got to choose meta magic, which is super exciting. So I chose, I have Quicken spell and Twin spell, and I got some new spells. And for those of you who don't know what my subclass is, I am an aberrant soul. So I think we got a lot of spooky babies in this party,
Yes.
and I'm
I
really
do love
loving
it.
it a lot. Like, it's gonna be so good. We got the dope monk shit, we got the spooky sorcerer, we have a spooky cleric. It's all so good.
It's fantastic. Man, I'm mentally thinking about twin spells because I play in a personal game occasionally. We have a sorcerer that likes to twin firebolt. And at like level 5, he's doing like something insane with his twin spells and meta magic crap, like 40 d6. I'm like, it just blows my mind. It's literally insane the amount of damage that a sorcerer can put out when they really put their minds to it.
Seriously.
Just wait.
Just wait.
Wait.
I'm shaking in my boots a little bit.
It's okay. I won't do too much.
Well, Hero,
You
what's
can only do it a few times, right?
per day, right?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I mean, unless I want to use some of my spell slots to get some
True.
points back, and then I can
They're so
do it some
versatile.
more.
It's so cool.
They
So
really
good.
are.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, I love the party composition that you all have. Cleric or no cleric, I think you all are going to have a nice bit of utility for this campaign. It's going to be great. And maybe somebody dies and maybe you make new characters. I don't know. Well,
Why
let's
would you
see.
say
I don't know why. Why?
Why?
Why is this a constant? What is-
I want to have fun too. You guys have killed like 23 monsters, and I haven't even made one of you unconscious yet.
Okay, but
But
my counter to that is that like 10 of those were exactly the same. We are not exactly the
there's
same.
only
true,
one
you are
Danis.
unique.
There's only
Yeah.
one Danis
Souls
in the
in
world.
this-
So really, you've killed
true.
one set of giant rats, one set of giant centipedes, an inferno spider, one set of trogs, and a goblin. Okay, so yeah, you've killed 5 things, and there's 7 of
So you can kill 5 of us.
Okay, so 5 we got
Wait,
it.
hold on.
Everybody roll a D100. We'll see
Wait a
who
second,
goes
guys.
first.
Chat, save us.
Save.
There is no saving you now.
Chat, help.
Shut up.
Chat, help.
We need a chat help emote.
Yes, please. Oh my god.
Hero, tell us what's Aurelian got going on with which point did you end up putting for second level?
I know I went back and forth because I did the multi-classing at level 2 between Bard and the Rogue, and so I ended up choosing to go 2 levels into Bard, so increase the spell slots, which is awesome. I picked up another spell, Fairy Fire, which is going to be cool because I can. It'll benefit. I mean, it should benefit everybody. It gives us advantage on attack rolls, and if I'm going rogue, it'll give me advantage so I can do my sneak attacks.
Yeah,
So,
Nice.
yeah, and then I picked up what is it? Where I get half my proficiency bonus.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. Yeah, so half my
That's
proficiency
really
bonus to things
nice.
I'm not proficient in. So
Yeah, really rounds you out
Yeah.
into all the different. That's awesome.
so good at a little bit of everything.
Sweet. Well, Danis of the Great Wood. What's he got going on at level 3?
This was really tough for me to choose because I had like an idea of what I wanted Danis to be.
Right.
And then there was just something that kind of was calling to me and made sense, like party composition wise and lore wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe Red Pandacola actually like guessed that Danis was going to go Wild Magic Barbarian, and I wanted to with everything inside of me, but I didn't.
What'd you do?
Why would you do this?
No, I'm not disappointed. No, I'm just
No, it's exciting.
I went Path of the Totem Warrior.
Good
Okay.
choice. Solid
And,
choice.
I think that
Um,
fits.
Heck yeah.
So I went Totem of the Bear, but it's going to be slightly tuned to be flavor-wise Totem of the Owl Bear.
Oh, nice.
I like it because you already got that little. You've got the owlbear crown or whatever it's called, headdress, and yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it.
So
That makes
yeah,
sense.
I think it's going to be fun, and now I have resistance to all things besides psychic damage while raging.
All things.
That just means we have to find you a ring of psychic resistance, and then you'll be untouchable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
All right, where's shoot, that was
is it
on the
gonna be
loot
made of
table for
metal?
tonight. Let me just delete
Alpha Blue
that.
official says classic
Oh, no.
Barbarian.
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 Can we find? I wonder if Nisa could make you a wooden ring of psychic resistance.
Oh yeah,
That would be cool.
I need to look at. I have next to no experience with artificers, and I really need to look at like
Me
what
neither.
they're capable of making.
They're beefy.
Yeah.
Really?
They can make some good stuff, and like
exciting.
soon too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
I've only ever played with one that was, I think it was an artillerist. He didn't really make stuff. He just summoned a cannon and decimated my enemies. So
Fair.
it's like, oh, you've got. We did a one shot with which I would totally love to play with Fateful one day. But it was vampire themed, and there was a basement underneath like a burnt down mansion, which was like the vampire spawn area. There's like 50 to like 60 like legitimate vampires under there, and he just summoned his like. You were supposed to cave in the pillars and crumble the floor or whatever, but he just summoned his cannon and AoE'd them all, and I was like, All right, yeah, I guess you can do that.
You actually gave me an idea for that exact subclass, and I want to play it at some point. It's just a magician,
Uh-huh.
but basically their big trick that they end with is that they summon a cannon and blast people. So basically they just like have cheesy like
Bibbidi
magic
bobby
words.
boom.
Yeah, exactly. And then he just like flips his cape over, and there's a cannon behind him, and he's like,
What
coming
animation
next.
is this?
"Can I get some applause, please?"
You thought all I could do was press to digitate, huh?
And they were all blown away, just like that.
Prestige. I was hoping to find a natural transition in there somewhere, but it didn't come. So I guess we're just gonna have to go
Dang.
right into it. So you're sitting here in this home right now. Lenosa is awake. Amadi's awake. Everybody else is asleep. And you hear back out from the night. Doesn't she understand how stupid she sounds? Take them to the snake mother. No, we will, yes. No, yes, we will kill them all. We will kill the non-believers, and yes, I will become the worm lord. Yes, no, Misha wants to save them, but no, I will kill them. I will kill them all.
Can I'm still looking at the window. Can I see who's saying this by chance?
Yeah, roll a stealth check.
Oh no. Okay.
Don't be
Guidance.
suspicious.
Just kidding. That's not the right character. Don't be suspicious. Don't
Can
be
I
suspicious.
assist in this?
Check.
You can also roll a
what?
stealth check if you want.
I think it's good.
Oh, you think you're good?
I think I'm okay. So I'm my stealth check. So I rolled a 15 on the die, plus my stealth is +3, so it's a total of 18.
18. Okay.
I also got an 18.
Nice.
Oh, yay!
Awesome.
We sneaky babies.
Stealth as fuck, boy. So yeah, there's you're able to sort of kind of go up to the window because there's not like blinds. It's
Yeah,
it's
just
a
like-
farmhouse, and yeah, you're able to just sort of Kilroy is
Peeking
here
over the
the
windowsill.
yeah. And what you see in the darkness? Do either of you have dark vision?
I have a spell for it, but I currently am not using it.
Okay, that's
Well,
fine.
Heck.
There's still a moon out. It's not pitch black, but that may impact what you're about to see.
I also don't.
That's fine. That's fine. So what you see is 3 figures whose silhouette pretty clearly matches that of troglodytes, and they're pulling a cart along. And walking in front of them is a cloaked figure. It's kind of hard to make out in the dark, but it looks like the figure is wearing like some kind of ceremonial robe. Maybe it's green, maybe it's black. It's really hard to tell. It's got like a decorative sort of sash coming down with what looks like might be runes. Something's weird with his face too. It's not like, maybe it's the shadows that are kind of maybe playing a trick on you. Maybe it's like his face is painted in some manner, and he's holding a club that looks a little bit weird too. It looks like maybe it kind of forms from like the handle, it goes into like a cobra of some kind, and he's just walking in front of these troglodytes, just sort of gesticulating to himself like I'm gonna do it. There's such a stupid plan. I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill them all. I'm gonna kill the non-believers. Yes.
I'm going to telepathically message Lenosa, and I'm just gonna be like, so I'm concerned for our safety in this venture.
Does Lenosa get to respond telepathically?
For 3
Okay.
minutes, as long as we're within 5 miles of each other.
Okay, cool.
The non-believers.
What god do you think that they worship? I might have something. And I'm gonna sort of start like rifling through my bag.
I'm not sure, but it can't be a good one.
I doubt it is a good one. So maybe, do you think? And I'm gonna pull out an amulet that has the symbol of Sirik on it. Do you think that's Sirik? Maybe. they would be okay with, or do you think maybe something different?
I'm not sure what Lenosa knows about that specifically. If I'm being
That is
honest.
fair. No, that is fair. Sirik is the god of lies and deception, mostly. So if they're evil, maybe like evil gods get along.
Yeah, you can roll a religion
This-
check to see if you kind of understand the intergalactic.
Sure, I will do as the DM says, because I'm trying to kind of figure out. That's a 2.
That's a 2. Okay. You know, there's definitely like alliances, like certain gods get along with other gods, certain gods have differences with others. Like there's definitely sort of cliques among the deities. However, which ones go together, or if it's universal, like all evil gods get along with evil gods, no idea. But it's certainly not unheard of for like certain deities to be in favor with one another.
Yeah. I'll play it this way. Lenosa like is silent for a little bit, and she, looking forward, because obviously this is a telepathic conversation. She says, "I very much am resisting the urge to go after them now, but I think sticking to our original plan of waiting is best." And she's going to kind of peer out the window, and can she see like up in the sky? Does it look like it's going to rain? Does it look like there's any sort of weather is coming?
Roll nature.
Okay. It's also a 0, but we'll go with it, see what happens. It's much better. It's a 19.
A 19.
Nice.
So you look up into the sky out the window. You know it's about midsummer, so rain is probably unlikely. There's a few clouds in the sky, but there's probably not a good chance of rain anytime soon.
Okay. Continuing on, she says, there's a slim chance of rain, and it seems like this particular area of town is not well traveled, so it is at least a somewhat safe assumption that these wagon tracks and the tracks of the nefarious creatures we have just witnessed will be there when we wake.
That is comforting. I think that we should probably stay until morning. I will wake up the next person for watch, most likely, so that we can both get some rest.
Who took third watch? Does anybody remember?
I
I
believe that was Rowan.
I think it was Rowan.
Okay. I'll go ahead and roll for her watch real quick. Oh, yeah. So she can take her watch. No issues. Nothing out of the ordinary happens on her watch. I assume you tell her about what happened when you first woke her up and said, hey, be on the lookout for this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
So, yeah, they're all over it. They keep an eye out. No untoward experiences. And then she'll go to relieve herself to go to sleep and wake up. Who's taking fourth watch?
I believe that was going to be Danis and Nisa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess you can take the watch then.
I shall.
All right. Roll a perception. 12. Nothing seems to happen. It's starting to get daylight now. Whatever was going on seemed to take place kind of like the earliest morning hours, but now it's calm, it's quiet. Nothing new seems to be occurring. And that marks day, and you all can take your long rest and officially level up.
I feel so much better and stronger.
What is this feeling? This feeling so
slept
new.
that entire night.
Good for you, bud.
Yeah, well, could have woken me up at any time.
You looked like you needed some rest.
Yeah, well, the bleeding's finally stopped, so I count that as good.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Lenosa raises an eyebrow. Finally?
It was slow going for a while, but here we are.
Just a little bit of blood left on the floor. I don't think that he'll mind too much.
Yeah, hopefully not.
So, there's some news for you since you slept all night.
Sure.
Lenosa and I saw some interesting things happening.
Interesting how?
So we saw a goblin and some more troglodytes.
This close into town.
They were marching through town, past this house, and then shortly later they marched back with a wagon, and the goblin was yelling about taking them to some sort of... Lenosa, who was it? Was it the...
I heard something about a worm god, perhaps.
A worm god, and then like a serpent queen, or something along those lines.
Does not sound good. Were there
No.
people in the wagon? I assume there were, but...
Yes.
I didn't even realize that snakes had queens.
I did not either, Dennis. It was a surprise to all of us.
I guess they could all have kings or queens and all the above.
I mean, there's like a king cobra, so it would make sense if there's maybe like a queen cobra.
Does make sense. Regal.
No, Lenosa's kind of nervous. Can she go out to inspect the tracks while this conversation is happening? Cool.
Go ahead and roll a survival.
Ooh, that's better. Okay. Well, at least in theory. 17.
17. So, with it being the middle of summer and the absence of rain, the road is pretty dry. It's also sort of the main road that encircles the town. There's not really, like, if you want to get from one end of the town to the other, this is the road you take. So it's pretty evenly worn. There's a pretty evenly worn cart track through it because it's, the only road, and all carts are more or less the same size. But depending on if you want to continue following the tracks, you might potentially be able to spot if there's a fresh sort of indication where it might have left the road, wherever that might be.
I think I was asking because I remember you mentioning that they had some wet tracks, like overnight.
They sounded like wet
sounding footprints.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think that's what she's looking for.
Okay, gotcha. So you kind of look around a little bit, and you're not really seeing anything like if they were dripping water. There's no indication of like puddles or whatnot, but you can see just the faintest sort of outline of what looks like maybe a fin here or there, but not really a strong enough clue as to be able to follow it. But you can at least see directionality, that it was like, okay, there's some going this way and then there's some going that way, and it looks like there's more than just last night. So this has maybe been going on for a while.
Okay. Then Lenosa is going to return back in and to the group and say, apologies, it was not that the conversation was lacking in any way. I just wanted to make sure that we could get some sort of clue or some information about the interlopers from last night, and I don't have much, which I suppose now I should have saw that coming, but we have at least enough to know that this is not a singular occurrence from last night.
Sure.
That is concerning.
Well, people are missing. Goblins with carts through town. It seems very concerning, to say the least.
So, Lenosa, did it look like the tracks were going towards the church by any chance?
You saw them going in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
So-
into and away from.
Into and away from is quite well put, Aurelian.
I am suspicious of a church that does not allow people inside of it.
Right. You said they were worshipping something, some kind of king cobra, or whatever this was.
Yes, one of them had a strange stick.
Strange how?
Lenosa, I think you might have seen it a little bit better than I did.
I'm gonna need Nolan to re-describe it then.
So two things real quick. So the road that's going in front of the farmhouse, it goes east to west, or really northwest to southeast, but whatever. That's splitting hairs. The church itself is like there's a path that comes off of that main road, and you haven't gone far enough to see if the tracks go down the path or come from the path to the temple. You just see them on the main road through town. As far as what the person was wearing, you remember it was like a green cloak, maybe black, with some decorative runes, and the club looked like it might have been shaped into that of a cobra.
Okay. I'm essentially just going to relay that for sake of brevity.
Yeah. Well, we should probably investigate more, but it's how early is it right now?
It's probably about 8 a.m.
So I know our friend here has said that we should move kind of under cover of morning or nighttime, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, and everybody roll a perception.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Natural
Nice.
Ooh, okay, even that we're somewhere in the middle.
16.
Got a 10.
1-6.
Okay.
All right, so collectively as a group, as you're discussing this, you realize, one, Alan's already out in the field. Two, there's really nothing happening out in town. You haven't seen anybody walking by. You haven't heard anybody. You haven't heard the sounds of a market. You haven't heard really anything aside from your own discussion. So if you did want to try to leave, it's not like you'd be at a high risk of being spotted.
Okay. I think I will relay our conversation to Rowan and Nisa, and if you all want to make your way outside so that we aren't seen leaving together, that may be wise.
That is a good idea.
It is.
I would like to pull out my disguise kit. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull out a set of glasses. I'm going to put the glasses on. And then I'm going to pull out a white sort of it's the thing that priests wear. It's like the drape. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull out one of those. And I'm going to shuffle through my bag, and I'm going to pull out my amulet of helm, and I'm going to put that on my neck, and I'm going to center it there. And I'm going to sort of slick my hair back, and I'm going to
I think it would be best if perhaps we move undercover.
That's wild.
That's not a bad idea. Aurelian's
Lenosa is like
obviously
looking
impressed.
at Amadi a little bit. Like, you sound a little bit like me. I don't know how I feel about that.
I can change it if you're uncomfortable.
She hasn't said anything. She just kind of like giving you an
like
eye.
looking at you, and I'm like,
Perhaps something more like this.
Dennis,
looks so
For
confused.
those of you at home, Dennis has the greatest confused face I've ever seen.
Yes, just bewildered. Like, how is this person changing their voice? Like, I imagine to Danis a voice is as like unchangeable as like their hair color or like their skin tone or their facial structure. Like, it's just part of somebody, and this new voice is just cycling through Amadi.
Pond, go back to the other one. It's better.
Which this one?
Dennis, are you
No, the first
okay?
disguise
Oh,
voice.
the deep, nice one.
Yeah, no, you got it on shuffle.
Okay.
Dennis, buddy, are you all right?
Marty, are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going to be? This is what we call a disguise.
She's just pretending. They're just pretending.
Pretend. No, you're fine. See the glass. I know the glasses can be quite jarring as they change my face shape, but I promise I'm still me. And they'll just like take their glasses off and be like, "See?
It wasn't. It wasn't the glasses.
Oh,
Ooh.
He looks very like physically tense, and the abject horror slowly kind of melts away, and it just turns into pure bewilderment. But he he stands there and just kind of like he kind of runs his hands over the other hand, and
It's okay. I'll get used to it.
Dennis, have you ever seen animals, bugs possibly, that change their colors and their patterns to like match their environment?
Yeah.
It's for a purpose. Sometimes it's to keep them safe, and that's what we're doing right now.
Like the Actius luna, the Luna moth.
I will take your word for it.
sure."
The bewilderment starts to kind of like melt away, and it almost looks like excitement reaches a slight smile on his face as he seems to be familiar with metamorphosis, but not disguising.
Sure.
That works. All right, let's go out while we wait for Lenosa, and then once we come back in, or once Lenosa comes out, then we can go about investigating the tracks. And I think I might make a quick pit stop at the church and pay them a visit. As a priest of Helm, just make sure that everything is going well.
Do you want any company on this?
If you
trip?
care.
Sure. I can disguise myself as well, but only for about an hour.
I can paint your face if you'd like. Do a little makeup.
Sure. If yeah, absolutely. It'd save me from having to transform in that way. It lasts more than an hour.
It does. Just don't cry in it. And then I'll just like pull my disguise kit out and I'll pop open my little like face paint and I'll just sort of start like contouring Aurelian's face.
Make me beautiful.
You are pretty good at eyeliner. Yeah, so I'll do a little eyeliner, a little bit of contour.
Perfect.
Would you like me to roll? Is it tools use with just the proficiency bonus?
Yeah, I think so. And you
Or is it sleight of hand? I can never remember with tools kits.
with Roll20 or D&D Beyond, can you just like click it and will it roll for you? I feel like you roll just a D20 and then you get like a proficiency bonus as yeah.
Can do. 12.
12. Okay. And you're pretty good at it. I mean, you've obviously done this for a while, so you can make a pretty convincing disguise.
Did you want to pretend to be a priest as well? I think I might have an extra amulet in my bag.
I think that would probably be wise if we're trying to get into this church. Is this the church that we're trying to infiltrate, for lack of a better word?
I don't think that they are Helm believers, but Helm is one of the better behaved gods that I have at my availability.
Okay.
And so I'll just sort of rifle around and I'll pull out
Sure.
There you go.
Perfect. Do I fit the part now? Am I a man of Helm?
You look quite holy. Let's go.
Perfect.
All right. So how what's going on? So you two are obviously disguised as a pious folk, and you're going to go check out the temple. I assume Lenosa and Danis aren't going to be coming along with.
I was thinking if it's cool with Lenosa and Danis, I don't want to be like the person who chooses what we do by any means, but I was thinking they could potentially investigate the tracks while we go talk to the church and do the terrible idea of splitting the party. Or we can investigate the tracks on our way to the church, and then Lenosa
Kinda
and
split
Danis
off.
can sort of investigate around outside while we try and get in, or however we want to do it.
Sure.
So Danis will have to be walked through what he's doing regardless, because he might just take off with you guys
That's fine.
if he's not corrected. So
the former idea of y'all heading to the church and Danis and I checking out the tracks is fine by me.
Okay. And in my best Nisa impression, she's gonna be like, "Guys, I need to take some time to work on Target here because he got pretty beat up last time, and I could probably spend some time making some things, and just help you guys out, and so maybe don't get into too much trouble, and you can just kind of come back and find me once you know something, and maybe Rowan can keep you company, yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
Great
good idea. Target and Rowan were pretty beat up.
So if you head out the ranger's home and begin heading southeast, it's a quiet day outside. Nothing really going on. You do see immediately next door the neighbor's home. You don't see anybody outside, but you do see some smoke rising from the chimney. So somebody's obviously home. The house is definitely way less... it's more weathered. It's been here a while. It's got sort of the impression that it's seen much use, and the owners just really don't have time for improving its appearance. You continue on, and to the south, you see a little small, neatly kept cottage with some flower gardens surrounding the little home. The shutters are clean, surrounding on either side of the windows. And you can actually see some fancy little curtains inside. It's sort of shaded by some elm trees. A little bit further, you're getting close to the actual temple, and you see another farmhouse with some small outcropped buildings like barns and some other things. Smell of the area, the smell of the area, it's clear that it's a hog farm. In addition to the swine, there's tons of chickens scratching around the yard, a rooster, some turkeys, and you see from inside the house a young boy sort of just watches you pretty intently with great interest. And it's at this point, with that house immediately to your right, you have the pathway leading up to the temple immediately to your left.
All right. So, Danis, if you would like to help Lenosa look at the tracks while Aurelian and I go into the church.
What if we run out of tracks?
That's a good question.
I believe if we run out of tracks, we will meet you outside of the church itself.
Is there some place we could possibly meet? Maybe away from the church, just in case we end up inside. Is there anything just outside of town?
Yeah, it's not. You'd have to go down past the bridge through the southern part of town and then back out the main road to where you initially found those trogs and everything. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's mostly open fields. And there's some small hills. You might be able to just kind of head out off the road into the fields and kind of hide out, but there's not really anything in the way of trees or anything that you could hide behind. At least in the parts of town that you've explored or walked through so far.
Do we really have to stay out of town? I know we shouldn't be coming and going from the house, but if we were to stop at the inn or the bar, would that be...
The inn would be good, I think.
An issue?
I agree.
If we don't find you at the inn or the bar, should we come to the church?
If we run into trouble at the church, I or Aurelian will make it extremely apparent that we are in need of assistance.
Absolutely.
All right.
Things will explode.
I don't doubt that.
Oh.
If you see the temple on fire, come on.
Then you know there are problems.
Okay.
All right.
Finish, shall we?
We shall.
So let's ping pong back and forth. Let's do the as Amadi and Aurelian start walking up the path towards the temple. Danis and Lenosa are searching for tracks. Both of you roll a survival.
Dirty 20.
Nice.
12.
12. Okay. So you spend some time looking at the ground, and as you start, you kind of make your way around a tight bend and start heading south back towards where you initially came into town. Still not too far away from the actual temple, maybe about a few hundred feet. You start to notice that these sort of tracks that you've been trying to track, they definitely become denser. Like up until now, it's been every now and again you might find one. Now you're seeing them somewhat regularly, especially now that you know what you're looking for. In addition to that, roll a perception.
Natural 20.
Hey,
Nice.
let's go.
19.
Heck yeah.
19.
So close.
So you both notice, you're kind of like looking at these, taking note. You start smelling that same sort of stench that you smelled when you first came into town.
And then else's nose kind of crinkles a little bit.
Danis closes his eyes very, very tightly in frustration. He starts to look. He starts to get that angry look on his face again. That it starts with annoyance. And I imagine that Lenosa has seen it a few times before at this point.
I imagine you are picking up on and she kind of like thinks about being sarcastic and then chooses not to. The putrid smell.
Yes. It's hard to think about anything but that. It's very distracting.
Can you determine where you feel it's coming from?
His face kind of turns into a disgusted scowl, but he slowly nods his head yes.
Yeah, and you can kind of walk around and doing hot or cold to.
Yeah, I was like kind of trying to ping pong and see if we don't have three people, but triangulate where this is coming from.
Yeah. So the smell is bringing you further south, further away from the temple, almost to the bridge at the southern end of this northern part of town. Remember, Alan said everything south of the bridge has been eliminated, or everybody's gone. So you're almost to this bridge, and it starts to get fainter. So you know you've passed it. You kind of turn around, and you look and you see a battered and weather-beaten structure. The doors and the windows of the large building are boarded up, and a sign lays face down in the weeds right in front of the porch. The porch itself, there's a number of broken steps leading up to it, so you kind of have to either jump up there or just be really careful to get there. And the roof has several gaping holes, and the general appearance of the place suggests that it's been long abandoned, but that's the place where it should be coming from.
Okay. I'm going to gently guide Danis away from this place so that we can kind of get to a point where we can both like think clearly, quote unquote, but like in a manner that like isn't like a kid like pulling or a mom pulling a kid like away, just kind of like a more natural like guiding back towards the temple.
Yeah,
just stopping where it's like faint enough that we can have a not Danis annoyed conversation.
I mean, you are tall enough to be Danis's mother potentially, so
just a little bit.
Yeah, so you can pull them away back to the point where you're not really smelling it anymore, and we'll give you an opportunity to think about what you're going to discuss as we check in with Amadi and Aurelian, who are currently on their way up to the temple. Live on the streets of Drellin's Ferry, Amadi.
Oh.
Hello. So if they ask where we're from, our order is the Watchers over the Fallen. That's the easiest one to explain.
The
because we're
Watchers
just
over the
healers.
Fallen.
We're just
Got it.
battlefield healers. Don't worry too much about it.
Sure. What is Helm? What is this?
The God of Helm. Oh, cursory. He's the god of guardians and protectors. He's sort of this, like good guy kind of,
Sure.
lots of paladins and guards and goody two shoes. Anyways,
Of course.
he's the most neutral. If we do run into any trouble and these guys end up not being good, don't worry. I have. Oh, hold on. And then Amadi's just gonna start like shuffling through their bag real quick, and I'm gonna pull up. Cyric. Do you know who Cyric is?
Do I know who Cyric is? Do you? Would I know?
He's the god of lies. It's okay.
The god of
We can be
lies.
like,
I would say that you have a cursory knowledge of somebody mentions a god name,
Sure.
at a very surface level what they are,
Sure.
maybe not like nicknames and all that kind of stuff.
The god of lies sounds familiar.
Yeah. So if anything goes bad, we can just be like, hold on. Don't worry, we're not really from Helm. We're just hiding the fact that we're priests of Cyric. You see, so it works.
Yeah.
Works out. So I'll just I'll give him one of my Cyric amulets. Hey,
Nice.
yeah.
I'll
Keep that
tuck
hidden.
that into my pocket.
And really, I think I'm just curious why they're not letting people in the church. If this is supposed to be like a good,
Right.
God-fearing, happy little area, why aren't they doing anything to help? And also,
Goddess
how do
of
they
the
not
harvest.
notice? Yeah,
Feeding
how
the
do they
people.
not notice that their people are being harvested by goblins? And,
Interesting. You want to try to get in?
I would like to.
Same.
All right. So you walk up a pathway flanked on either side by humongous trees that kind of create a nice, really serene experience. And as you approach the temple gates, basically it's basically a square compound surrounded by trees, and behind the trees is a stone wall encompassing the entire area. And immediately in front of you as you walk up this path is two large wooden gates that are currently closed.
Just gonna push on them.
Are the doors open?
So yeah,
Is it locked?
you push on the doors and they swing open. There's a broad path that leads to the doors of the actual temple, and the courtyard itself is empty except for a gardener, and the grounds are not well tended. Aside from that, it's a clear path right up to the temple doors.
This is not quite what I was expecting when they were keeping people out.
I'm concerned a little bit. So we can see the gardener, you said?
Yeah, so he's like, if you're looking directly at the temple, which just imagine a big square box, he's probably off to the left side of the temple, just picking weeds and doing that kind of stuff. And he doesn't really seem to, if he's noticed you, he hasn't paid any mind. If he hasn't noticed you, then he hasn't noticed you.
Well, we just go to the front.
Yeah, you said the gardens it's not well tended. The area is not well tended too.
Yeah, so there's obviously somebody working the grounds,
Yeah.
but you probably would expect the temple to be like well manicured and everything, but the grass is overgrown. There's weeds. There's dead plants. Not like spooky dead plants, but like there's some that are dying, some that aren't well taken care of. That kind of stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, I say we head up to the doors then, huh?
Yeah, onward and onward. Here we go.
All right. So you walk up to these temple doors. These ones they're very nice. They're wooden. They're inlaid with gold, but they too are also closed.
Maybe we'll strike luck a second time.
Push on the door to see if it opens.
and it opens.
The doors aren't even locked.
This is going to be the easiest trip.
Shut the fuck up.
And they were never seen again.
Yes.
So, the fact that the doors are open has Marty scared shitless, but they're
Yeah.
trying to cover it.
Aurelian says that sarcastically.
Sarcastically? Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Absolutely.
Hello?
Yeah, so these big wooden doors creak open. And it just echoes into this big temple. The large room in front of you has a tile floor decorated with an abstract mosaic pattern in orange and tan and brown and blue. And there's several tapestries that decorate the walls, all depicting scenes of lush farmland and crops in various stages of maturity. And 5 huge elm trunks serve as like columns to the room. So instead of like stone pillars, it's actual tree trunks.
Venice would love it here.
I know.
At the back of the room, there's a statue of Marika, the god of harvest, carved from a solid piece of jade, and it's mounted on a pretty low dais at that north end of the room.
How big is it?
It's about, let's see, 10, 20, it's about 40 by 40.
Oh.
40 by
Not
40.
Oh, not the statue. The room itself. Is
Yeah, no, the statue is what I was just curious about.
Yeah, the
How
statue
big
itself is about 10 foot square.
So still too big to fit in a bag of holding. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
And as you walk in, you see what appears to be a priestess emerge from a side room. Welcome to the temple. I am Misha Devi. How may I help you?
Greetings, Misha.
Hello.
We are but travelers of Helm seeking refuge.
Ah, Helm, the vigilant one.
Yes.
Yes, his full suit of armor that protects him but represents the weight of his heavy responsibility. Such a wonderful god, yes.
Very strong. We'd also heard that people had been going missing around here lately, and we were wondering if perhaps you needed some guardians for your people.
Oh, I think we have it mostly under control. We used to keep the temple gates open during the day, but we have too heard about these disappearances and thought it was best if we at least closed the gates. We certainly don't want to keep anyone out, such as yourselves, but one more barrier to entry certainly never hurts.
I would like to cast Detect Thoughts.
Ooh.
Nice.
Tell me about Detect Thoughts.
So Detect Thoughts, it is a DC, what's my spell saving throw? 15 wisdom save.
A DC 15 wisdom save.
For the duration, which is up to 1 minute, I can read the thoughts of certain creatures. When I cast a spell as an action on my turn, and until the spell ends, I can focus my mind on any creature that I can see within 30 feet of me. If the creature has an intelligence of 3 or lower, it doesn't speak language, it's unaffected, but this one obviously speaks if it's a creature. I initially learn the surface thoughts of the creature, but I can either shift my attention to another creature's thoughts, or I can attempt to probe deeper. If I probe deeper, that's when the target must make the wisdom saving throw. Sorry, so I get her initial surface thoughts, and then if I probe deeper, which after the surface thoughts I might, then I need the saving throw. If it succeeds, the spell ends. If it fails, I gain insight into its reasoning, its emotional state, something that looms large in its mind. It will know that I am probing into its mind unless I shift my attention to another creature's thoughts.
Okay. DC 15 wisdom save.
So I get her surface thoughts first, and then she makes the save.
Oh, so you just get the surface thoughts right off the bat. She doesn't
Yeah.
actually have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So her initial surface thoughts are, what are they doing here?
That's interesting, given that I just told her what we were doing. So after she says, what are they doing here? I will definitely then, and my eyes kind of just like
zone out a little bit, and I'm just like staring at her. It's not super discreet, but here we are. And then I'm gonna probe deeper. So now we need that wisdom save.
Now we need that wisdom save.
I'll try to distract a little bit and try to talk to her maybe as we're as Amadi is zoning out a little bit.
Okay.
And ask if there's any. I obviously you have it under control here, but would there be any chance for us to rest within your walls? We have traveled a ways.
We'll have to wait for her response as we come back to Aurelian and Lenosa.
Hey.
Danis and Lenosa.
You mean Danis?
But also.
Oh, did I say Aurelian? Yeah, my mistake. Danis and
I was
Lenosa.
like, wait a second.
Danis and Lenosa. We're gonna come back to you now. What's
Okay.
going on?
So Lenosa is kind of just like walking with Danis like normally, as if they're like coming through the town, is to keep potential suspicion low. And she says, I admit my first instinct was to knock down the door with our quarterstaff and deal with the consequences inside, but I feel as if that would be unwise. Your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about knocking down the door and having all of our questions answered, but I think that's frowned upon. Yeah.
Potentially. What we know is that the place looks abandoned, but there is a obvious scent coming from it that no one seemed to mention yesterday when we first came in. And that concerns me, Danis. And it concerns me because it feels as if we have been lied to, intentionally or otherwise, by some of the people that we have met recently.
Danis kind of looks to the right and to the left to make sure that there's no one in the immediate vicinity. And he kind of leans in hushed tone.
I don't think that's Amadi's real voice.
Lenosa laughs a little like not like super loud, but like she kind of lets the natural laugh kind of go so that it seems like a normal conversation that's happening. And then in a similar hushed tone, she says, Danis, I think you are correct. But I also think that the seemingly simple case of a relative gone missing is far more than what it seems to be. And
Oh, right. We're looking for that man's sister.
As if it all comes rushing back to him at once, and he feels very guilty. You just see guilt written all over his face.
I think we should give Amadi and Aurelian more time to investigate the church, but either that building, and she kind of like does the head jerk back to where back in the direction of where the building is, holds the answers that we're looking for, or it is a natural stop on the journey to those answers. And as incredible as you are in battle, and I feel like I do okay, the amount of troglodytes we've faced yesterday, I feel, is what we would probably face, if not more, should we barge in there now. And I don't think at this juncture we can take them on ourselves.
Like, just you and me? Or
Correct.
are you sure?
Dennis, and she sighs and like stops. I haven't been sure about much for a very long time, but what I am sure of is that if we go there now, we either find nothing or we find too much.
Well, then something I'm sure of is that I'm glad that you're here. Because I would have gone in there.
I feel like I can say the same. And
Dennis
she
has a little-
go ahead.
He has a little bounce to his step after that.
I think we should find our way to the inn, perhaps, and wait for our friends.
Yeah. I can't wait to see them.
She kind of gives them like a light pat on the back, and they keep walking in the direction of the inn this time.
All right. You begin walking westward around the south side of the lake. This is a road you all haven't passed down yet. But we're going to go ahead and ping-pong back to Amadi and Aurelian, who Amadi had just cast Detect Thoughts and detected that the surface-level thoughts of this person, Misha, was like, why are they here? Now I need a wisdom saving throw, which I had already rolled, and I already know the answer to see if you can probe deeper and find out what Misha's really thinking. And what happens if you fail?
And then I don't get to learn the thoughts.
Is she aware that you tried to probe?
She's aware either way.
Oh, she's aware either way.
Really?
Yeah.
How,
I
like,
didn't read that until after I cast it, so I was like, ugh. So I'm gonna read you the description of the spell.
Okay.
Perfect.
If I probe deeper, the target must make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, I gain insight into its reasoning, if any, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind, such as something it worries over, loves, or hates. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows that if it succeeds on the saving throw, the spell ends. Either way, the target knows that I'm probing into its mind unless I shift my attention to another creature's thoughts. The creature can use its action on its turn to make an intelligence check contested by my intelligence check. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Questions verbally directed at the target creature naturally shape the course of its thoughts, so this spell is particularly effective as part of an interrogation. And then there's more about also being able to detect thoughts of creatures that are around me that I can't see, but right now I'm focused on Misha. So did she fail or did she pass? Are we about to go into combat with this woman, Nolan?
Well, I can tell you that she failed her wisdom check. Rolled a 4 on the die.
Nice.
So, unless, even with insane wisdom, you're still going to fail that. Now, here's the question that I've got. How is she going to react to knowing that somebody is probing her thoughts?
No, well.
You would think so, right? Now, you obviously get to know these things regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But how is she going to react? So, I guess let me tell you this first before we get to how she understands that you're probing deeper. List off one at a time the things that you learn, and I'll answer them.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm panicking. Okay.
Oh, you're fine?
So I gain insight into its reasoning. So her
So,
reasoning.
like, why are they here?
Yeah, like why is she wondering why is she suspicious about us being here?
You learn in an instant that she's suspicious about why you're here because, one, you're outsiders, and two, what do you know? And are you going to ruin everything?
Okay. Next thing that I learn is I learn insight to her emotional state. So if she is happy, angry, stressed, concerned.
She is stressed.
Okay. And then I also learned something that looms large in her mind. So such as something she worries over, loves, or hates, particularly at this moment.
probably, what is she stressed about and what is she worried about us knowing? Because it seems like that's something that would loom heavily in her mind.
She is worried that the Snake Mother is going to be displeased.
Oh, God.
Roll a perception check.
Both of us or just Amadi?
Both of you.
Okay. I gotta see what my bonuses are. So I'm gonna roll. I get +3. So I rolled a 19. So
Nice.
I went 22 on the 22.
That is much better than my 2 that I rolled +3 for my perception, which equals a 5. So,
That's fair.
Well, that makes sense, because Amadi, you're really focused on trying to learn what Misha is thinking. But Aurelian, while you're trying to sort of distract Misha through your conversation, you notice that she's wearing a snake's head amulet around her neck, made of gold with rubies for eyes.
I just have to check one thing really quick about message and how that works.
Absolutely.
Ba, 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 ba. So it says you point your finger towards a creature within range and whisper a message. The target and only the target hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear. I want to try to whisper to Amadi and, try to do it subtly and just let her know that she's wearing the snakehead amulet around her neck prominently. So maybe we should change tactics.
in a very quick response from my I feel like my face is just kind of blank, and I'm just really staring at Misha, and you'll see my eyes sort of quickly twitch towards you, and whispering back, I'll just say, "She's worried about the snake mother, so that tracks." And then I'm gonna just start slowly, I'm gonna sort of take a nonchalant step sort of back, just a little bit, just a little I get migraines sometimes. I'm sorry about that.
I feel like I'm going to get some flack for this, but I'm reading the words of this spell.
Okay.
And part of me wants to interpret it as either way the target knows that you are probing its mind. But the way that I want to interpret it is that either way the target knows that someone is probing into its mind.
If that's how you want to interpret it, I'm not going to argue with you, Nolan.
Yeah, I'm really trying to think about it, and how would it know who's probing its mind? Even if it saw your memories, your experiences, how could it know that they're yours?
Because we've never met before.
Right.
Yeah.
But your
So I think
experience
that's-
has happened in first person, so
Right.
I don't know how you thought you were going to get flack for this, but I'm following.
We're all just yeah.
This tracks with me. Yep.
Because I'm really because the wording, I don't know, the further wording in the spell, making an intelligence to stop the spell and whatnot. If it knew who was doing it, why not just accost that person? Hey. But I mean, I guess also that you could potentially be out of range and not necessarily in front of them. But you know what? That's the way I'm going to rule it. I'm going to rule it that she knows someone is probing her mind. And so you're going to step back and say what, sorry?
Oh, I'm just going to step back and say, I'm sorry. We've been on the road for quite some time, and I'm extremely tired. Did you have perhaps a place where we could rest our heads, or were you not accepting travelers at this time?
I'm afraid that we cannot accept non-members at this point.
Of course, we understand, absolutely. Well, in that case, I think that my partner and I here will stop troubling you. Please let us know if you need anything. We're more than happy to help.
We help all those who need it, so we will be around.
Of course.
As followers of Helm, I would expect nothing less.
Our God is a lawful God, he's protector of all.
Of all, and bless you and your covenant here.
Indeed. We wish you a bountiful harvest.
Truly. I must go.
Oh, goodbye.
And I'm gonna grab Aurelian's hand, which is probably the first time I've touched him at all through this. And I'm just gonna sort of squeeze it real tight, and then I'm gonna walk out calmly. Of course.
Yes. Okay. Picking up on the signal, obviously, it's time to leave. So, quickly make our way out. Casually.
Yeah, you're able to walk out the temple doors unimpeded, kind of let out a big...
What the hell was that?
Oh my God.
Off the grounds. We go off the grounds.
Yeah, of course.
We need to find Lenosa. We need to find Danis immediately.
Nod to the gardener, leaving. Yes.
Yeah, the gardener is still doing his thing.
I'm going to wave at him just in case he sees us. Do the smile.
He kind of looks up at you and just, it doesn't seem to react, just kind of pauses for a moment and goes back to what he was doing.
You're doing good work here. The garden looks lovely.
You just hear, really under his breath, just...
Yeah, so to the inn? Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to the inn. Alcohol.
A drink. Exactly my thoughts.
And we're going to speed walk. Power walking?
Power walk.
Yeah. Should we change?
Oh, yeah. I want to get a little bit further away from the church. And then I'll take my glasses off and sort of pull off my vestments.
Nice.
So you begin power walking and removing your disguises. I assume that because the closest path for you would be the north route above the north side of the lake around town. So you'll take that path back past Alan Claiborne's farm and everything. And you actually, because this is a big circle road around the lake in the middle of town, as you're beginning to turn southward, you actually see Danis and Lenosa turning northward across a bridge covering or crossing a creek between the two of you. And as you meet up right at the bridge here, you actually see two inns right next to each other. They both look really nice. One sign is the Slumbering Serpent, and the other is the Golden Grain Inn. And you are now next to one another.
How did it go?
Were you able to follow the
Stinky.
tracks?
Stinky.
Dennis,
How?
if I may.
Go ahead.
We happened upon a few more tracks the more we followed them. Great credit to Danis and his olfactory senses. They lead to a very dilapidated home that I am possibly paranoid in, but feeling like is a possible ambush or a trap. So if it is not that, then it is at least a stop on the journey to finding out what happened. But the scent of the troglodytes comes from that particular building, and I feel like if we were able to sense it so strongly, I feel like more people in the town would also, including our dear friend Alan.
That is very concerning, yes. And I'm gonna be I'm shaking my hair out.
He said he doesn't leave his house, though, too often. Certainly possible.
But it did not take us that long to walk before we noticed the scent.
Fair point.
And the chances of him not waking to some of the things that Hamadi and I heard
On consecutive nights, I feel is a bit low, but
True.
that is just me.
They're like yelling in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Linosa,
Yes.
last night, do you remember there was one creature who was yelling or angry about someone named Misha?
Indeed.
We met Misha today
Did.
at the church.
Lovely lady. Absolutely.
Oh,
Dennis, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
No, she was terrified. You would like the church, though. There's lots of tree trunks. You remember the snake mother, not queen. I misremembered, but the snake mother. Misha is terrified of the snake mother being displeased with her, whatever that means, and she wears snake amulet on her neck.
And how did you gather this information?
I read her mind.
Yeah. The doors to the church were open. The gates, the doors, seemingly no concern. So seems like we have a few problems in this town.
It is concern.
Big problems.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious as I'll get out about that house, though. Do we want to go look at it instead of getting drink?
Yeah, I think that is what I want.
You want to go in?
Stinky house.
Dennis, how do you feel about entering a stinky house?
I may let my anger get the better of me again, but
You're on our side. That's okay.
I am.
So, what do you say? We head over there? Go pay a visit?
Aurelian,
Yeah.
I fear we are getting in much over our head, but
Sure.
I greatly dislike the notion that there is something rather sinister going on beneath our noses, and so I think it is in our best interest to see what is in that house.
Well, we were given a job to find the missing girl. We've already been partially paid for it. And, we haven't found her. So, I think we should continue. So I imagine we are walking into something bigger.
This is probably going to hurt.
Probably. And as she says that, she kind of just like rubs the brass knuckles that Nisa made.
Yes.
So she's kind of saying it as if like it's probably going to hurt, but maybe not necessarily for us.
I love it.
All right, so you have this discussion, and I assume that you're now going to head back towards the house with Linosa and Danis leading the way.
Stinky house.
All right. So you've walked around in town now. You're starting to let your eyes wander a little bit and kind of take in your surroundings. As you're passing down this southern road back to the east where this house was, you pass a house. It looks like maybe a shop of some kind. A sign with a spinning wheel and loom hangs outside the building. Several bays of wool are stacked on the wide porch. Nobody's visible. You pass another building with a sign that's got a gem-encrusted ring on it. The doors and windows are open. The building is small, but looks pretty sturdy. The doors and the shutters are made of pretty heavy wood with reinforced iron bands, but no one's visible here either. You pass a fairly well-kept establishment with a sort of assortment of farm implements and cooking utensils on a big, wide porch. The door here is also open, and a well-painted sign depicting a pot and a plow, a sack and a lantern hang over it. Looks a little bit like a general store, but this building too, no one's here. You pass a small, square building that's been freshly whitewashed. Heavy curtains hang over the windows, and the door is shut. You also pass it's kind of laid back from the main road, partially screened by a pair of big elms, but is by far the most imposing house you've seen in the village. The roof gleams with new wooden shingles. Wide porch crosses the entire front of the house, and columns of wood support the overhanging roof. The columns have been carved into sort of leafy patterns, clearly by a skilled craftsman. You also pass a run-down house, clearly in need of repair. The front door, the porch steps, visible roof supports are missing. The barn is even in worse condition, but there's a bunch of chickens that suggest that the place is inhabited. You also pass by another building depicting, with a sign depicting a needle piercing the seat of a pair of pants. So it's kind of a ramshackle building in need of considerable repair. Some shutters are hanging loosely. Shingles are missing from the roof as well. Maybe this was a tailor at one point, but I don't think anybody's occupying this building anymore. You pass by a blacksmith, a carpenter, similar to the tailor, just kind of run down a little bit. But then you come to this building, and the stench begins to hit you. You too see the broken porch, you see the sign laying face down on the grass, the windows boarded up, the doors boarded up. But that stench, it's that same stench that you smelled when you first came into town.
That is troglodytes.
Again, Danis's brow furrows, his mouth curls into a scowl, and kind of lifts his shirt up.
I don't blame you, Dennis.
Same.
It's unpleasant, to say the least.
This is awful. Whew. All right. Are we going then?
Lenosa kind of puts a hand up, like, one moment. Nola, you said all the windows are boarded up?
Yeah, everything's boarded up.
Okay. I would like to approach the door very carefully and kind of just like get down and see, like basically I'm like lying on my shoulder to see if I can see underneath the jamb of the door.
Okay. Roll a perception.
Okay, I'm scared, but I do it. I get 15.
Nice.
15.
1-5.
It's pretty dark. There's not really any source of light aside from the occasional beam of sun coming through, broken boards on the roof or something, or
Okay.
a broken window panel. But from what you can see, the floor is just in a total state of disarray.
Okay. Lenosa is going to, even though she knows it's going to be a little bit of a bad idea, she's going to take like a deep breath to like center herself. And then she is going to think about something in her mind's eye. And she's going to look at basically, she's focusing on like where one of the sunbeams is in, because it's something that she can see, like she can see like part of the ground there. And she's going to use minor illusion.
Ooh.
To cast the sound of someone like just like saying like hello, like not in her voice, but like in someone that she knew long ago's voice, like just like calling out
Just
from like
some
one of those
other
points.
voice.
Yeah. So for the audience, minor illusion is you create a sound or image of an object within range that lasts for the duration, which is 1 minute. This illusion also ends if you dismiss it as an action or cast a spell again. If you create a sound, its volume can range from a whisper to a scream. It can be your voice, someone else's voice, a lion's roar, a beating of drums, or any other sound you choose. It continues unabated throughout the duration, or you can make discrete sounds at different times before the spell ends. If you create an image of an object, which I'm not going to do, so I'll kind of just leave it there because I'm focusing on a sound. So basically, it's just someone like calling out and being like, hello, is there anyone here? I'm kind of lost.
Okay. And you're still on your shoulder, just kind of looking under the door, trying to see if anything happens?
Yep. And I'm going to add in some sound of like creaking floorboards to sell the effect a bit more.
Okay. So you do that and you give it a minute. You just wait to see what happens. just calling out occasionally. Hello? Is anybody here? And the sort of sound of somebody cautiously stepping around. As the floorboards give way under this sort of illusionist foot. And you give it a minute, and you hear something rustling. But it's faint, it's distant. Maybe it's coming from below the floors? And you hear sort of that same wet, slappy footsteps. Stepping up the stairs.
Okay.
And
cool.
from
Go on.
a hatch in the floor, you see a troglodyte's head emerge. And it kind of looks around. Doesn't see anything. And begins walking back downstairs.
Cool. I got what I wanted to get. So Lenosa carefully returns to as full of height she can get and goes back to the group. There's a hatch in the floor that they are essentially using as some sort of cover. So we have confirmed troglodyte activity, but not in the upper parts of the home. They are below.
Well, if they had anybody, that's probably where they'd keep them, right?
Probably.
Lenosa is kind of playing with one of the little hairs that come off the side of her head that are wrapped in metals and beads. Well, are we committing to going inside?
I am ready.
Yeah. Is the door open?
It's
That I did
boarded
not
up.
try.
It's boarded up.
Yep, everything's boarded up.
Okay. All of the doors are boarded on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Answer.
Could we search maybe around the house for sort of basement hatch that is on outside of house, like storm cellar door?
Something
Yeah,
quieter.
absolutely.
Underground. But we'll be sneaky.
Yeah. Something quieter to get inside.
As they're kind of coordinating what's going on, Danis is gonna pull out 2 javelins that are just made of wood. They're just basically sharpened sticks from his cloak.
Okay.
What other secrets does he have in there?
Bag of tricks.
Can't wait to find out. Yeah, I agree. I say we take a look around.
Before we do that, and Lenosa kind of looks at her companions, centers herself again, and she goes, I think it's best if we make it so that we were never here. And she casts Pass Without Trace.
Nice.
For the class, a veil of shadows and silence radiates from you, masking you and your companions from detection for the duration, which is 1 hour. It's concentration. Each creature you choose within 30 feet of you, including me, has a 10 plus bonus to dexterity checks and can't be tracked except by magical means. So a creature that receives this bonus leaves behind no tracks or other traces of its passage. So
Excellent.
we are doing this big stealth time.
Big stealth.
All right. So you're all gonna stay together as you search the perimeter of the building, or are you gonna kind of split up and go around separately, or?
Do we have to be within a vicinity for Pass Without a Trace?
30 feet of me.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll probably want to stick together then.
Stay close then.
Okay. So the first thing you notice is, one of you might have kicked over the sign out of just boredom or whatnot. And you notice it says Foaming Mug Inn. So this used to be an inn of some type. And you continue walking around the side of the building, kind of checking up and down. Everything seems nice and boarded up. The boarding doesn't look new, but it's not really old either. Maybe a couple of months, maybe a year at most. And as you go around to the back of the building, you do see what appears to be a cellar entrance.
Good call.
You found
Dennis. Dennis kind of looks down at the doors, and he kind of like looks at you, raises his eyebrows as if for permission.
Should go quietly as possible, right?
Does there appear to be a lock?
There is. There's a small padlock latching the door closed.
I can possibly take care of this, so we don't have to break it. If you don't
Dennis
mind.
like slowly puts his javelins back, and just in case it doesn't work, he kind of leans on his great club that he also pulls from the cloak.
I appreciate the backup, buddy. I'll try to pick the lock on this.
All right. Even though the javelin's just a giant key.
True.
No, it's fine.
It is a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Okay, you can. This is a pretty rudimentary lock. You can pick it, no issues.
You stick like one pick in, and it's like, all right, I give up.
Well, that's it.
Don't even get the lever part in. It's just like, yeah, that's enough.
We're good. So, pop the lock off, and slowly open the doors.
And you see in front of you a creaky old staircase down into a dark cellar.
Dennis, after you. I think the javelins would be very appropriate now.
He stops leaning on the great club. He puts that back under his moss cloak and pulls out both the javelins again and kind of tosses them from underhanded to overhand hold, and he heads down the stairs into the cellar.
Nice.
Nos right behind him.
I'll draw both my rapiers and then follow behind.
I'll be last.
You step quietly down the stairs, step without trace, really helping here for you all to remain stealthy because these stairs are worn, they are creaky. But you're able to slowly make your way down them. And in the darkness, even without dark vision, because at this point there's some rays of sunshine shining in, you see 3 troglodytes sitting on scraps and boxes and refuse, just hanging out, sharpening their weapons or just kind of playing with shiny trinkets and whatnot.
Do we get the surprise round?
They don't seem to notice you yet. It's almost as if their passive perception is exactly equal to the bonus that Pass Without Trace gives you.
Oh,
Very nice.
that's very nice.
Is it single file? Are we single file line?
Yes, it would be single file in just because of how narrow this is.
Okay.
All right. Well, if that's the case, Dennis is going to like creep forward enough to where his companions can all be like within the room, and then he's going to become very angry and throw a javelin.
Let's do that. Let's give me a second to get some things set up on my end, but go ahead and at least roll your attack for now.
It's going to be a reckless attack.
Ooh, okay.
Heck yeah.
Not great, but
Not great.
So with reckless, you get advantage on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's an 11 to hit.
11 hits exactly.
Okay, cool. Cool.
And we're going to move to a crudely drawn map here, so you all can have some kind of reference about the room. You're coming down the stairs to the west end of the cellar here, and they're just kind of sitting around in a circle.
All right. That is 8 damage.
8 damage. So you're going. Are you attacking the one that's sort of to your left side of you, or to the right side of you, or the one that's immediately in front of you?
Left side.
Left side of you. Let's roll some initiative.
Nice. Let's do it.
All right, Amadi.
I got a 6.
Alrighty, Aurelian.
13.
Lenosa.
8.
And Danis.
15.
Nice.
That makes
Perfect,
sense, because
yeah.
you are actually going first. So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk down these stairs. You're going to hurl a javelin into this troglodyte to the left of you. The javelin's just going to pierce right through the back of its neck, straight through it, and it's going to collapse to the ground dead.
Oof.
Damn.
And that's going to start the first round of initiative, because you had a surprise round. Danis, you get to go again.
Cool. Quick question before the surprise round ends. With 2-weapon fighting, can you make a second thrown attack as part of that attack?
I would say so, that you just wouldn't be able to add the proficiency modifier.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then he's gonna do that.
All right, do it.
Sorry, I tried to Google it beforehand, but I didn't get a definitive answer quickly enough.
Oh, you're fine. 13 hits.
All right. Cool. 6 damage.
6 damage kills it.
Okay.
So you walk down these stairs and just... and 2 troglodytes fall to the ground,
Yes.
dead, javelins in
So-
their neck.
It's going to be left and right. So I imagine they're both just kind of stuck in the wall. And Danis, who is now raging and no longer has to worry about surprising people, lets out a mighty bellow and charges forth with his flail and quarterstaff in hand, which he also pulls from his Mawson cloak.
All right, go for it. Only one more lizard boy left.
Okay. Perfect.
This is like a precision strike.
Until, Danis goes, "Whoa!" And,
Right?
I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna make this a reckless attack as well, and then I'll just roll the other one just in case. That hits. That is 30-20 to hit.
Yep, absolutely a hit.
Okay, so 4, 8, 10 damage. And just because it's dead doesn't mean that he's not going to try to hit it the second time. But I assume that it doesn't have any AC at that point, so he just whacks it with the quarterstaff.
Correct. So just in a fraction of a moment, you all kind of give him the nod, like, yep, let's do this. You all step down the stairs. Danis hurls a javelin to the left, right through the back of the neck. Troglodyte falls to the ground. Another javelin off to the right, right through the neck, falls to the ground. Rages, roar, runs up to this last troglodyte, hits him with the flail so hard his head does a 360 on his neck, falls to the ground, and Danis be like, really? This is too easy. Just kind of like defeatedly smacks it one more time with the flail and sends it against the wall.
He's like a kid in like a very violent candy store. Like, have at it, buddy. Like, we gave him tokens to Chuck E. Cheese or something. Just.
And now you can. Yeah, I probably should have had a map for John for that, but you can see why I didn't.
Well, that's fair.
I want to listen. Do we hear any noises? Sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Go for it. Roll perception.
12.
12.
11.
I'm gonna opt out if that's okay, because Danis is raging.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Amadi is just watching Danis go hard on these trogs. Like, wow, that's. I didn't even have to do anything.
So you kind of listen for a moment, just kind of look around. You don't hear anything. Among the refuse, though, you do see a much not necessarily newer, but it's out of place. A small chest sitting in the corner.
I will go over and take an investigation upon it.
Yeah, so it's a roll investigation, I suppose.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Are you checking for traps, Lenosa?
Yep. Dirty 20.
Nice.
30.
No, sorry, I lied. I was looking at the wrong thing. That's a crit. Nat 20.
Nice. So
Love
you
to see
notice, as you're looking over it, it's a small chest, about the size of a shoebox, and it's got a single keyhole on it. And as you're kind of like turning it over in your hands, the light catches it in just a way that you see some kind of mechanism inside the key lock that would indicate that perhaps if opened without a key, it could potentially trigger something.
Okay. I kind of lift it up, because I'm assuming it's not that heavy. And I turn to Aurelian and I say, we will want a key for this, specifically.
We could possibly disarm the trap if we don't have a key, though.
Well, I would leave that in your seemingly capable hands.
Let's hope I still have them after this.
And she kind of puts it back down and, with respect, gives Aurelian the space.
Can I try to disarm the trap?
Absolutely.
Nice. That's a 12.
That's a 12. So you go to sort of insert your thieves' tools into the keyway here, kind of gently clicking at this mechanism. You're not trying to pick the lock, you're just trying to sort of finagle it in such a way that it, nullifies the trap.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're picking your sweat beating up on your forehead, just kind of like, you don't know what this is. It could be a fireball trap. It could just be, something that destroys the insides of it. Who knows what's going on? And as you think you got it, you got a little bit of tension, you just really need to be delicate right now. The trap triggers. But nothing happens.
Guys, I may have triggered something. I don't know what, though.
So Danis is still mid-rage. And because his rage is continuing, his lust for blood has not been satiated, even if he did kill 3 things in here. So are there stairs leading up?
There are.
Danis is making his way towards that door.
Sure.
Towards the door, like, so there's the stairs you all came down, and then there's another set of stairs that go up into the main.
Okay. Lenosa sees this and turns to Aurelian and says, we may have to reconcile with the fact that someone knows we're here now, but I'm going to keep up with Danis before we lose him.
I'll be with you in just a second.
And she goes after him.
I will sit down here with you.
And she's like, probably got to do like this because she's heckin' tall. How tall is the ceiling in this?
It's about 10 feet.
Okay, so she's got enough space.
Yeah.
She's got enough space.
Tall cellar.
Just
Yeah.
This very though.
I'm going to set the chest maybe in the corner, and I'm going to wave my hands and cast Mage Hand.
Oh, okay.
Good choice. Don't touch it.
Right. I don't know what happened. But I guess maybe we'll find out. And so I'm going to use Mage Hand to lift the lid on it.
Yeah. So the hand appears on the chest and begins slowly opening the lid. And as you open the lid, you see what looks like a plunger mechanism on the inside of the top lid that already looks depressed. So the trap triggering would have depressed this plunger and spewed out something, but nothing spewed out, so maybe it was already triggered once before and reset. You're not sure, but
Sure.
you think you dodged a bullet here. And in the chest, is a pile of gold. Roughly 150, maybe 200 gold at first glance, and a folded up letter.
I'll wipe the sweat away from my brow. And, well, looks like that was worthwhile after all. And I'll pull out the letter. Take a look at it.
I'll start pulling the gold out of the chest. Don't worry, I will split it with everyone.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so you start looking over it, and it looks like a list of names. Some of them are crossed out, some of them are circled. It almost looks like a manifest of sorts. And at the bottom of the list, there's maybe 3 or 4 names after this one. But at the bottom, you see a familiar name. Cyrilli Finla. And that's where we're going to leave it until next week.
Bum, bum.